So firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for inviting me to join today's discussion, and I'd also like to acknowledge and honour the traditional owners of our land, past and present. I'm really pleased to be talking about diversity, specifically the positive results that you can generate by embracing diversity. I don't in any way profess to be an expert in this space, and I believe that our organisation is a work in progress. But I do believe that it is so critical to continue to have these conversations, to raise awareness and to open people's minds. I always say you can't shrink an expanded awareness. So the more that we actually have these forums where we're talking about this, the more that we'll be able to address critical issues that are out there. Diversity to me is the acceptance and respect for the difference and uniqueness of others. We are all different. No one is the same as us. It's just degrees of difference. Diversity isn't a choice, it's a reality. It's already here. Consumers are diverse, and we live in a very diverse society. Inclusion is a choice. Embracing diversity is a choice, and it's critical to success. Trying to keep our world as a version of ourselves is like trying to stop the sun coming up, and I don't know why anyone would want to do that. From a business point of view, inclusion and diversity brings diversity of thinking, innovation, and greater success. And this makes sense from both a customer and also a staff perspective to us. From a customer perspective, diversity of thinking makes us smarter because we're including and catering to the community and the diverse consumer base and the customers that we're trying to reach. If you think about how businesses operate now and that the world is such a global place, to continue to generate the concept of sameness really does not support any business strategy. From a staff perspective, we're able to hire from a bigger talent pool, and if you have a large organisation or medium to large organisation in South Australia and you're trying to actually recruit talent for your organisation, I don't understand how you can afford not to be thinking about diversity and the need to consider anyone that actually has the qualifications, no matter their diverse background. That helps us to support the staff that reflect the communities we operate in. And diverse thinking increases team and staff performance. Groupthink and sameness represent diminishing returns from a performance perspective. And there's a lot of research on high-performing teams that shows that diverse teams outperform those that are not diverse. I'm very proud of the organisation I'm helping to lead, People's Choice, because we are working on the obvious. We are still a work in progress in this space, but it is very important to us. We're about people. However, for some time we've been working on the not so obvious. Embracing diversity requires an organisational intent because it takes time to create a diverse workforce that reflects the communities we operate in. I believe inclusion is successful when you create the right frame for diversity to be fostered and embraced. For us, this has meant developing an engaged culture that fosters and is built on values around integrity, trust, and respect to support flexibility and a feeling of safety to have a voice or a different view and to take a risk. This means creating a culture that supports strong people values for both our customers as well as our staff. My view is that all the attempts at embracing diversity do not work if you do not have an engaged, inclusive culture. So for us, having stated values that are about people and integrating them has been supported through training in things like emotional intelligence for leadership, so having our leaders able to develop their skills in emotional intelligence, but also training individuals in their own thinking styles is important. Wisdom is to first know yourself to help you to know other people, and also training them in understanding that embracing and in fact seeking diversity because of the benefits to their own position as well as the results that they can achieve, how important that is. We first have to have them understanding that diversity of teams is important. For the guests here today that aren't with People's Choice, let me just explain a little bit about who we are. So we're Australia's second largest credit union and South Australia's largest independent banking organisation, and we serve about a fifth of the state's population. We have about 350,000 members across Australia. So we serve a diverse customer base, and we want our business to recognise and reflect that. To support this, we have a policy and targets to ensure we focus on creating a workforce that's diverse. We started looking at this a few years ago in a more in-depth manner by actually conducting some surveys and doing some work on what our current profile looked like in terms of our staff, and also understanding a lot more about the communities that we operate in. We actually found that in one location we had a particular branch that didn't realise or understand that it was Chinese New Year, and the whole shopping centre and everyone was involved in that, but not our location. And so we realised this is just not acceptable. You know, we can't reach our audience and actually be a community people organisation if we don't understand what's going on with our members and our customer base. So last financial year we achieved all the targets we set across our 5 diversity categories: gender, age, disability, Indigenous participation and language and culture. So looking at gender briefly, more than half our board members are women and the national average is a quarter. Across our organisation, our leadership is split basically half and half, with females slightly in the larger group. Of course, that's not the result of one year. And gender equality is about addressing the unintended biases and barriers, as is all diversity. For several years, we've implemented programs that generate female leaders of tomorrow through supported qualification programs, including recognition for prior learning. We found that we had a lot of older females in the organisation that had worked in different processing areas and in our corporate environment, and they hadn't had the opportunity to actually have supported education programs. So we implemented some great programs to assist them, which also helps to actually support the opportunity for leadership. Last year, we set an employment target for women in part-time managerial roles, addressing the fact that flexibility in these roles is important for women juggling work and family responsibilities. So one of the biases that we had was that women working part-time can't really actually look after a team and be in a leadership role in a branch. So we've done a lot of work to make sure that we're looking at those sort of unintended biases. While our head office is right here in Adelaide, we've got branches across Australia, including regional areas. And each and every branch has a community profile, and we focus on hiring to reflect the local community. And this is supported with initiatives that include things like advertising jobs in relevant languages, an Indigenous traineeship program, and we also are focusing on having an age profile within the business which reflects our members. We've gone through our recruitment processes to consider any other unintended biases or barriers. For our services to members, having access to the financial system, simply getting a loan, a credit card, having a credit rating are vital steps to a person's security, success, and also building independence. We have a responsibility to consider and develop services that allow access. To do this, we have to educate ourselves as well. And this is where it really starts, building that awareness and that education. So we're taking a very careful look at how we do business from the point of view of the member or the customer. We're researching and asking a lot of questions because we know that we're not always going to be able to spot the barriers that are there for them. So, for example, how would we know how complex the system appears to a 20-year-old who's just arrived from Syria? Or how intimidating a loan application is for an Indigenous family in the Northern Territory? Or what's really concerning an elderly retiree who's just lost her husband? So making sure that we've got staff that actually reflect those communities is really important, but also working harder to understand what their issues are. We need organisations to have systems which suit people in all their diversity and without discrimination, even unintended discrimination. So this is all part of what we at People's Choice are calling our member-centric model. It's a project that's central to our business plan, and it's one I'm extremely proud to be leading. Do I think it gives us a business edge? Absolutely I do, because we are thinking about the people that are outside of our organisation, as well as how we reflect that inside our organisation. So how do our business results look? I think I've got some data on that, or a slide on that. Thank you. So we're doing okay in terms of our growth and our results on our profitability, but our culture, in terms of whether or not our staff believe that we live up to our values, 91% of our staff actually who participated in a voluntary survey, that's over 70% participation as well, and staff engagement 88%. So focusing on diversity and building values that are about having an engaged workforce certainly don't harm us at all. For us, diversity is a responsibility as well as a business imperative. And you can't be about people and focusing on the community if you're not thinking about these things. We're in the business of people and working with people for a better future. The need to embrace diversity that extends beyond the obvious is about creating an engaged culture at the outset, and also strong education. Having leaders role model for staff by fostering and embracing the environment of respect for everyone's unique humanness, everyone's right to access and to have a voice without negative judgment that's based on the desire for sameness as a comfort zone. That's a recipe for failure. If we start with this in homes, in schools and in workplaces, we can build this in our language and culture and in the way we see and embrace others. Thank you.